This one surfer came up with a swastika on his board. Beach clear, no one around. Bald white guy sees me, comes up, sits his board down. But with all of this beach, why would you sit a board next to a black person with a swastika on it? And I looked down and I saw it. And I was like, okay. Unmoved. Intimidation, stupid stuff.
Welcome to Surf City.
The image of the surfer was exclusively a white image for a long time. It's not a particularly expensive sport, and it would have been less expensive back then, but still, who has the leisure? Who has the means of transportation? You know, who has cars and gas money and all those things? You know, who grows up learning to swim? Who grows up with swimming pools and swimming lessons and all those things? Who's telling the story? You know, who's making the media? Who's making the movies? Who's making the magazines?
I'd come home from school and I'd leave my board on the beach because nobody could carry it. It was too heavy. So it was no big deal, but that's how it kind of started in the 30s. And surfing became so important to us that that's all we did. It's so exciting to be in the tube of a wave. It's like better than sex.
The California dream as an idea was born in the gold rush in the 1850s, this idea of this promised land you would go to and make it rich and live in the sun and all that. I mean, it was one of the great paradises for human being. The first surf industry and commercial surf media emerged in Southern California in the 1950s and 60s and really defined the sport for the world.
The beach look, the culture, the attitude, the lifestyle that we created as surfers, other people, even though they don't live at the beach, they want to look like a surfer. They want to be part of it.
My sense of it is that it was fairly small and growing pretty organically through the 1940s and 50s. It didn't really kind of explode as a pop cultural phenomenon and become central to the fantasy of California until the movie Gidget. That movie kicked off the first surf boom.
I love Malibu. My board is heavy now.
Yeah.
I got lighter and my board got heavier. A lot of the surfers had nicknames, so they gave me the name Gidget, which meant girl midget. Do I look like a girl midget? My first surfboard ride was June 24th, 1956. I was 15 years old, and somebody took me out on a surfboard. That was so wonderful that I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be a surfer. I wanna be like the boys. I told my dad I'd like to write a story about Malibu. And he said, I'm the writer, you tell me. So I told him everything, pretty much. My father was a writer. My family's Jewish. It was important that my parents leave Europe. My Uncle Paul had an agency in Hollywood, so he'd come first, and then my parents came, I think, in 1938. That's the cover. My father created a story based around the young girl that's surfing at Malibu and her love interest and what happens there. And then it became number 8 or 7 on the bestseller list with the Los Angeles Times. So it was one step above a book by Jack Kerouac called On the Road. First Gidget movie came out in 1959 with Sandra Dee. Gidget was very popular, like Barbie, you know.
That's really the first sort of Hollywood blockbuster that shows the whole world that, you know, surfing is part of the California lifestyle. author of the book Gidget was Jewish and a Holocaust survivor. Gidget herself, his daughter, was a Jewish girl. So the story goes, when some of the Malibu surf guys found out that her family was Jewish, they apparently spray painted a swastika on her driveway, on her home.
What is that picture you showed me last time? It was like there was like that swastika on the wall.
I'm not going to show you that picture because I don't know where it is. I don't like it. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm tired.
I was aware of other Nazi imagery in surf culture. When I was first learning to surf after college, I had seen swastikas painted on seawalls. So I was aware of these kind of weird strain of fixation with Nazi imagery in the culture. In Southern California, really, this is not new. This is quite old, and it's a strain in our culture that's been here all along, and it's time that we were all aware of it. It's time that we all just looked at it.
Early on, Pacific Homes was a company in Los Angeles that made prefab homes. See, swastikas were an old American Indian sign, and the 4 points of the swastika meant sky, water, natural things. Indians were into the nature of things. But it was put on boards in the 30s, but once Germany invaded Poland in 1938, then nobody used the swastika anymore, even though it was an Indian swastika.
So there were the Greg Knoll movies in the 50s where everyone dressed up in these Waffen-SS uniforms and they're goose-stepping and Sieg-heiling and all this shit.
The band's playing, the crowds are cheering.
German uniforms, machine guns, what could be better?
What else could a guy want in life?
The question were, is racism present in surf culture? Of course it is, yes. These ghastly images were at the center of this culture for a long time for some reason. And I was aware of that Mickey Dora had put swastikas on his surfboard. Dora really was the #1 culture hero of California surfing. I mean, he's the California surfer. You know, he was a very good-looking guy. He was a very, very good athlete. He had a beautiful, graceful style. And then he also had a kind of a outlaw cruelty about him, a kind of darkness about him that we're all vulnerable to finding that attractive. The appeal of the Dark Knight, you know, that's kind of, he had that kind of sex appeal, I think. And he was very explicit about hating outsiders. He sort of popularized the surf idea of localism, of being vicious to outsiders. It is often expressed as a kind of a nastiness or threatening vibe in the water. Every single person sitting there knows who in that crowd is in the priority position.
When I saw Mickey Dora the first time, I thought to myself, this is a very handsome man, you know? He looks amazing, he surfs amazing. It's like the ultimate, you know? You don't have a chance, little girl, you know? And don't even think about it. I probably fell in love, yeah. Just thinking, wow, this amazing guy wants to ask me to go out, you know? This is the start of something big in my mind. It's hard to look at these. I've had this hidden for years, and to pull them out again, it's all very scary for me to see it. This was one of his ads back in that controversial time with the Iron Cross. And lo and behold, it's for his surfboard from Greg Knoll and Decat. And there's the Iron Cross, and he's wearing it. And he actually has the German leather black coat. He had some Nazi stuff too. I remember he had a marionette puppet. He cut a picture of Hitler and he glued it on the puppet's face. And then the puppet had a little jacket and he put a swastika on there.
Why?
I don't know, because he's nuts. I gotta tell you something, I wore an Iron Cross once. And I just got it because it was part of being in. It looked like part of the in crowd then, you know? I don't know what happened, I lost it somewhere, but there was actually a company in Santa Monica that did these boards. A friend of mine, he had a board actually in his Volkswagen still to this day. It's a Mickey Dora board, brand new, with a swastika on the tail block. Mickey, father of localism, yes, he started it all. He liked this stuff, and then he didn't like people being in his waves. So, I mean, he's promoting it, and he's also saying, get away. So there it is, the enigma.
Mickey Dora was a fucking racist. It's not that complicated, you know? And like saying Mickey Dora was a racist, it just shouldn't be that hard. It's, you know, was everybody racist? I don't know, who cares? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the #1 surf culture hero was really a creep. And maybe it would be okay to just kind of say bye-bye.
If I'm out there and somebody I don't know is paddling for a good wave, I'm gonna go on it. That's localism in a nutshell, I guess. You can ask anybody out here, they'll tell you that they call me the enforcer. Today I didn't have to be verbal, I just gave some haircuts, some showers. You like to get as close as you can so then they actually get out of the way. All the old guys don't really bark like they used to. When I was a kid, they were like splashing water in your face and dunking you. Now everybody likes to call the cops.
Welcome to Surf City.
I'll wake up around 3:45, and then I get dressed and try and get in the water by 4:45, 5 o'clock. It's a routine. It feels dangerous, it seems dangerous, it might even be dangerous, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I know that I get some of the best waves to myself. I get the peace of mind knowing that there ain't nobody that's gonna be out there trying to bully me off a wave or bully me out the water. This is the perfect time to come, especially, you know, if you don't want to deal with the racism that, you know, sometimes comes out of there. Dusk and dawn are like feeding time for animals. So like knowing that, like knowing certain information makes me a little nervous. I was a little naive. I was more worried about sharks and drowning. I was worried about the ocean more than the people in the ocean. You start surfing more, you start interacting with people more, and then you realize, like, yeah, some of these people out here are the sharks. I've actually only been called the N-word once. It was shocking. I wasn't expecting him to say that. He started paddling away, and then he just turned around and said it to me as he was paddling off. He's considered like a cool, everybody knows him, everybody looks up to him. It's like hate speech. It's completely like there's something inside of you that you just want to say it, and here's your opportunity to say it. You've said it at any point. I feel like he was trying to tell me, go away, because if you come back, I'm gonna call you it again. And so I make eye contact and I give them a head nod, like they'll turn their head really fast to pretend like they never seen me. It's crazy how serious they are about, like, you know, being racist.
Compton used to be predominantly all black. Now it's more Latinos here. It's racism right here, and sometimes it's in your face. Racism is a system in the society. It's local, it's national, it's global, because it's not gonna stop. You just hope it do stop. That's gonna probably happen till I leave the planet. I take pictures all the time because I take pictures of seagulls, birds, dolphins, or whatever, even other surfers. And so this particular day, I walked to the pier. Then I saw two black surfers. I normally don't see black surfers surfing in Manhattan Beach Pier. I said, it must be a class. Then I heard the N-word. I said, this is no class. I said, what is this? I saw this confrontation between this white guy and the black surfer. Take it back to the streets. Well, go back to the streets. And then I heard the N-word again, and I saw the guy splashing water at the black guy as he was talking to him. So it's a very controversial word. It goes back to slavery to me. You know, where on the plantation, where the white owners whip you.
I was surfing, and a white dude in the water called me the N-word about 40 times. Yeah, he was throwing the water in my face. I'm very self-aware, so the day that happened, the moment it was happening, when he's calling me names, I was just laughing.
And the other guy was still in the water. His name is Gage. I said, Gage, get out the water. There's too many. I don't know if they are all racist, and they might just do something to you. I was just fearing for his life at that point. But he finally came out the water.
2 days later, I organized a peace paddle, and you know, we had about 100 black surfers. Surfing is a place where a lot of white racist people are, absolutely. Because they're like, oh, I live right here. The ocean is mine. Like, no, it's not. You live right there. The ocean is the dolphins.
The sport of surfing itself is not, you know, does not have white people origins at all. You know, the sport of surfing is entirely invented by non-white people exclusively.
Surfing started in the early 1900s from people hearing about surfing in Hawaii, but it wasn't really until Duke Kahanamoku came to California to make a Tarzan movie with Johnny Weissmuller, who was his Olympic swimming teammate, who was actually Tarzan. But Duke was kind of dark-skinned, so they made him an African laborer in the Tarzan movies. And because he was also a surfer, he became known as the father of modern-day surfing.
These are racial issues in California more than they seem, in the sense that California had very strict real estate codes that didn't allow black people to live outside of really pretty constrained boundaries in just about every city in California. If they can't live close to the beach, How are they going to become surfers? Well, then how's anybody supposed to learn to swim well enough to feel confident in the ocean?
In some places, they were segregating black people and white people in schools, and they wouldn't let black people get an education, and a lot of things like that in terms of restrictions. Discrimination that was happening, it was in the era that was called Jim Crow. This was the beach that black people liked to come to because it was easy for them to come to this beach, and they were less harassed here than at some other beaches that they might go to.
There was many areas in the United States where you were not welcome, could not go, and definitely had to be gone by dark. This particular beach is called the Inkwell. The Inkwell was a segregated beach where black and brown people from Los Angeles or this area were able to come down to the beach and enjoy themselves.
Black folks in Huntington Beach were kicked out in the 20s, 1925, after they had built this beautiful beach resort. The Ku Klux Klan supporters burned it down. And that kept black folks from wanting to go down there because there's no other place for them to go for services. It makes it kind of difficult for you to want to go to that space. It does speak to some of the trauma that African Americans experienced in terms of trying to enjoy the beach.
As the property values have gone up along the coast since really the 50s and 60s, when people wanted to move to the coast, the property values have gone up. Most people of color have been kind of priced or moved out of the area. And so we've been pushed away and priced away from being a part of the ocean experience.
All the beaches have been recolonized because it's only territory now for pretty much white males. And that's just the way it's been for the last, 70 years. But it was kept away from us for so long that people began to become, afraid of the water. They didn't want to go in the water. There was all these myths and, phobias. This is all new to a lot of people. I started out surfing here 40 years ago at Lighthouse Beach, Lighthouse State Beach. And wasn't very friendly. So I make sure that my girls are safe. We're black. In 15 minutes, when they start setting up and really getting, you'll see it, it just automatically, it's a curiosity, right? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, count it out, 4, 14, 15, 16, 30. All right. Coach boys and girls, but I coach women. And I probably coach over 400 at this moment. We just want you to get to the shore. And this is what I always say. You're just trying to survive yourself to get to the shore, right? So you're focusing.
I've never went swimming in the ocean until I started surfing. It's so big. It's like you look out there and it's like it just never ends. I feel like a lot of people of color, we don't really do a lot of water sports. And I know even for myself, I was scared coming out because I didn't really know how or like anybody that did it. I don't really see a lot of people that look like me. I've tried to get some of my friends to come out and they think I'm crazy. They think they're gonna get like eaten by a shark or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get a rock thrown at us if they see the camera. They're right over there. So that one guy's a defendant in our suit. That's the surf gang. You talk about having the characteristics of a gang. They all hang out together. They all have this one territory they protect, and they act in concert to deprive people of their right to go see the ocean. The Aloha Bay Boys, that's the gang.
Welcome to Surf City.
I remember distinctly just seeing a photo cover shot on a surfer magazine, and it was Aloha Bay. It was something like the forbidden wave that nobody gets to surf other than a select few or something like that. This is the place you come for the big waves. In the winter, you get big wave swells that will hold shape up to 30 feet. And I always kept it tucked back in my mind. Someday I want to surf that wave. So I guess, yeah, 14, 15 years old.
Aloha Bay, the territory is not selling drugs. It's surfing a world-class wave. You don't go there because the locals will harass you. But, you know, they're cowards. They won't do it in front of you. It's never a one-on-one fight. They're just a bunch of spoiled little white rich kids.
You want to swing at me? Swing at me, Pop? Swinging. But it's this type of localism that is...
So this was in 1995. A local news station go up there with cameras to try and catch exactly what they caught, which is what locals will do if you show up there. He gets in their face and starts screaming at them, telling them you'll never, you can't come surf here again. You got it?
Got it? You got it, son? You got it? Oh, yeah, I'm touching nothing. But you won't surf here.
Look at that poor kid.
Got it? You got it?
This guy, he was interviewed by the LA Times, and he said, quote, "We protected this beach for years. This is why. So we can have driftwood on the beach rather than Kentucky Fried Chicken boxes." The reference to Kentucky Fried Chicken that he's making would be to African-American people. So if they open it up, you're gonna have African-Americans showing up, and he doesn't think that's good.
Aloha Bay to me was like a spear to stick into the side of the demon and twist and pull out and pull the toxins of that vibration out. My thoughts are, when I look at all these houses, how pristine they are, and knowing that just inland from it is like some of the worst, most brutalist gang-infested hoods. I don't have the heebie-jeebies like I did before coming around here. 20 years ago was a little different. I felt very uncomfortable. I didn't know if my tires are gonna get destroyed or my car is gonna get worked or they're gonna end up showing up at my house or harassing me there. Even one time when the cops were here and I had them all come up and stuff like that, you know, I pulled the freaking machete right out of the lot, like, oh, these guys aren't fucking around. Was just an instant feeling of the racism. That a guy came at me yelling and screaming, who knows what the hell he was trying to say. He had a big old black wig on, big old afro wig on, blackface, he had the whole thing. He just did everything he could do to make himself look like a black Hawaiian guy and mock us right in our face. Like, we're not allowed to surf here and all this other crap. I started planning. I planned for about 6, 7 years. That cliff there, down there, had a huge fort that was built on the bottom down there. A massive, all-out, decked-out, fancy-ass shit fort, like a psycho. It was amazing. You could have lived in it. A fort there, another fort on the side, another fort there. There's like 4 or 5 of them, or maybe 6 even. There's no fucking way you're gonna keep me from going to the beach. I'm doing a protest at Lanai Bay. I'm gonna do it on Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, which is anti-racism in every single damn way. These guys can't stand black people. I don't know what the fuck that was. We go to paddle out. We show up here in the dark, in the fog. They had it totally unlocked, so I said, watch. Went down there, went for a surf. They swarmed me like you wouldn't believe, kicking water in my face. That one guy kicked me in the face, eyeballed me, calling me out, threatening me. I just sat up on my board and started pointing down like this, and these guys are all, what the fuck's he doing? And then I look up at the cliff, they saw the cameras pointing down, I'm like, oh, shit.
I'm so angry about it. I didn't realize.
And I realized, okay, so this is where the power is. They don't want anybody to know who they are because they want to go surf other places. They cover their faces up and try to be all ninja about it. We started exposing these guys.
The only reason I'm here is because of one guy, and that's Chris. He gave me the confidence. He gave me the assuredness that, you know, we can do it, that we're gonna have to take steps to protect ourselves, protect our car. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And we waited for a big swell, and I came with him. It was going pretty good for a few waves, and then a couple guys in the water changed things. Somebody's paddling in front of you, paddling around you, you know, just yapping their mouth, and guy who was up and riding went right for me, and I had to bail off the side of my board and cut a little slit in my wrist, and I thought, oh, okay, the stories are real.
Well, it's a public beach. You should be able to go down not worried about being harassed. By the lawsuit, we ended up getting text messages. And the text messages described there's Taloa, who they knew, the person, and he's with a short little bald fuck. Sorry, Corey, but you're the descriptive of not the F word part, but the short and without hair.
Now, Kurt is in a big firm, so he wanted to blow it up, and I thought that was great. This is the federal case that we filed, and this case alleged some civil rights violations against the city. It's probably the biggest Coastal Act case in 20 years. I mean, it's huge. So these are just photographs of different people that surf Lanai Bay. It's generational. Like other gangs, you know, the father's in the gang, the son is in the gang. They will do what's necessary to keep outsiders from wanting to go there.
But when you get text messages and you have the advent of discovery that we can do in America, it's concerted activity. And if you look at some of the other stuff too, you know, did the police department know about it? Did the city know about it? Of course they knew about it. Most of the Bay Boys settled out because of that, or peaceful persons that we alleged were Bay Boys, individual defendants in this case.
You parked there.
What's the deal?
You parked there.
Honestly, have a little class. Okay?
Strange.
It's strange behavior.
Head southwest on
Yes, it is.
Then turn
Walk
left
down
on
the street,
Paseo
you see
del Mar.
somebody, and you just look at them and stare them down. Like, what is that behavior? It's people in public, huh?
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Film.
I've been watching my back the whole time we drove up here. I saw him coming around the bend. He eyed us all the way around. So I just followed him. And he did a U-turn right there. And I don't know how many hundreds of feet of curb space there is, but he has to park right here and get out and then ask me, am I okay? That's not normal.
You okay?
Oh, I'm great.
How about you? You okay?
Yeah, I just don't know why you're staring at me.
You're staring at me. You're kind of scary.
Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Are you trying to scare me?
No, he's staring at me. I'm trying to figure out why.
I don't know you. Do you know me?
No, I was asking your friend here because he's sitting there looking at me while I'm getting out of the car, staring at me. Doesn't say hi, doesn't nod, not friendly.
I'll say hi. I'll say hi for him.
Okay, good.
Beautiful day. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
So anyway, yeah, it's an interesting place.
What ended up happening was nothing that we could have ever predicted. I mean, we had almost $200,000 in out-of-pocket money going to costs. We have probably $5 to $6 million pretty easily in legal fees. You know, taking that case damaged both of our livelihoods. So the Coastal Protection Rangers are creating a website that has photographs of everyone that surfs out here, so that if somebody goes down here and gets harassed or attacked, they can go to the website and identify the person who did it. Secrecy is gone for them.
Last U.S. Open, there was a Hispanic dude who got murdered right on the beach in front of everyone because he was stealing merchandise. However, he didn't have a weapon or anything like that. I was eating lunch with my son. We looked over, we seen a bunch of police running to the beach. Next thing you know, you heard some shots go off. He reached for his shirt. They assumed he was reaching for a weapon, and they murdered him right there on the beach. It was almost like back in the day when they used to hang people in front of the whole crowd. You know, they did that because they wanted to make a statement.
Welcome to Surf City.
We don't see too many black surfing contests that are just for black people.
This is the black surfing renaissance because we've been excluded from the water for so long, and now that we're able to have access and take space, now we can have our time in the water where our people feel comfortable and are no longer afraid of nature, of the earth, of what is around us and supports us.
There's not too many opportunities for people of color just because of, especially out here in LA, the options for transportation to the beach or the accessibility is not as easy as it is for anybody else around here.
I fought for half of this building. Half of this building consists of 2 plots of land that was once owned by the Bruces. I fought for them to have their land returned to them, and they got it. Charles and Willa Bruce, they were black entrepreneurs. They had a beachfront resort where they allowed for black people to be in community with one another. There was music playing. They had a shop where they sold swimwear. In the 19-teens and the 1920s, they were harassed by their white neighbors who did not want them here. Not only were they harassed by their white neighbors, they were harassed by city officials, the KKK. I first learned about the history of Bruce's Beach when I lived in Manhattan Beach about 3 years ago. I became so enraged because I was just like, oh my God, I live in a community that would do that to my people, right? I live in a community where there's less than 1% of Black people, and that's the reason why. And from that moment, I fought. No matter what happened, despite the threats, despite the obstacles, I continued to fight until that family got their land back. It provided some form of repair for a harm. The power to say, this is my land now. I have the deed to my land that was taken from my ancestors, and I get to decide what I want to do with the land. It did something for Black people in this country. It provided more hope. When people reach out to me and ask me if I can help, it is because many of them have been fighting for decades to try to get their land back and to no avail. But what this said is it's happened before, it can happen again. It set a precedent.
Good morning, Creed Academy. Very good, very good. Okay, I am an Olympic what? Swimmer, yes. Who here knows someone else that doesn't know how to swim? Okay, that's a lot of people. Uh-oh, there you go.
What's reported is over 50,000 kids that are homeless. When you come to Los Angeles, you think of, you know, Hollywood and the beach and all of this, but when you're really in the city, there are so many people that don't have a place to stay. The cost of living is so high. And people that may have started here, just over the years, just haven't been able to afford it.
1, 2, 3. And touch the nose to the water. Let me see you touch the tip of your nose to the water. Let me see you touch the tip of your nose to the water.
In South Central, Black kids, they don't swim. It's not so much that we're all human, we're all equal, like they have the same ability to swim. It's the exposure. We're about 3 miles from the ocean. To a lot of our kids, it might as well be China.
I want you to imagine like you're opening a door.
These kids, if they're lucky, they go to the beach once a year. And most of the time when they go, they can't get in the water because they're scared. They don't know how to swim.
You and I, we were swimming before we ever walked on the earth, right? Every person was born from their mother's womb. So it's just about reconnecting people to a legacy that they don't know is theirs, right? Helping them to reclaim power, helping them to understand, hey, there may be this thing that you think you can't do, that you think is really hard, heck. And when we remove that barrier and open that door, it helps them believe a whole nother level of possibility, not just to like survive in an aquatic environment. It's more than just a life-saving skill, it's a life-enriching skill.
Yeah, I flip that old school sound, do it a new way. Took me a long time, but never quit it, no way. And I ain't high nothing, I ain't doing 2 pays. On my beat, flying kicks, kinda like I'm no way. One of a kind, man, but not...
The Ebony Beach Club flag, based on the American flag, but I just redesigned it. It's like the swimming emblem, but with an afro on it. So it's just like, represents all Black people in aquatic sports. That's the idea. Today is a special day because we got the permit to do this event through all the adversity. It's been so difficult. But today we're doing Ebony Beach Club Juneteenth celebration right here, Dockweiler Beach, California. It's gonna be a time.
It is a special day. Juneteenth is about liberation. It's about freedom and just changing the narrative of our culture. It's gonna be our first official Ebony Beach Club. We finally have the permits. We can't get shut down today. So it's gonna be a beautiful day.
It means something to me, at least, to like decolonize this space and be able to like reclaim that. And it's not like white people stuff, you know? It's something we can all partake in.
I feel like people are afraid to come because they don't see people that look like them or live like them in the water. But just us being here, now we can go tell our friends like, hey, we were surfing and if you guys want to come, and they're like, oh, maybe we'll try it. Because, you know, people who you're close to, now you feel comfortable to try new things. So
that's how you keep color in the water.
Yeah.
I walked up to her, said, you don't smoke, well, that's all right.
The surf scene is extremely white, male dominant. And that was the real reason why we started it, is we need to form community. The future is that black people and black surfers don't have to say black surfer. Just like, I just want to be a surfer. The amount of black surfers over the last 5 years has doubled. It's actually doubled. And I know that there is probably an intense part of the curve after the incidents that happened to us. And there's so many cool black surf organizations around the globe, not even just in America, around the globe.